Good morning, everybody. I'm joined now. This is Jim Feist in Las Vegas. I'm joined by Hank Goldberg. He's in Florida. And Hank, we got a hockey team here in Las Vegas. We opened the season 3-0, the Golden Knights, and we're very happy about that. And I don't follow very much hockey personally, but I'm real happy that we have a team that's winning. As far as the horses and the sports, you have been absolutely red hot. You're in the Westgate contest. You're doing exceptionally well. I think you're 3 or 4 games out of first place. And the horses keep cashing each and every week. Lots of money to be made. Just contact us on our website, and I'll post all that information at the end of the show. Hank,
did you have Trinidad last night?
I think I passed that game. Did you have them?
You know something, I could have cared less. And I guess people are really sick about this, but you know something, I think one of the most overrated stories in this, one of the most overrated, my old network put so much into soccer, and I think that's one of the reasons that their ratings are down. Nobody cares.
No, soccer has never been a big American sport, and your production managers at these networks sometimes get a little off base as to what they'd be doing. But we got controversies in the NFL. There's a lot of messy things going on. Hopefully that'll straighten itself out. We got a game tomorrow night. Philadelphia goes to Carolina. Philadelphia's been playing very well all year, and Carolina has really stepped it up the last couple of weeks. Carolina opened the game 3. It's up to 3.5. The total's also up to 45.5. Hank, a lot of injuries. I don't know if there's any injuries in that game you want to talk about.
Well, I gave 3 and paid the juice early. I thought that this was a game that could go up because Carolina right now, everybody's jumping on that bandwagon because Cam Newton has played so well the last 2 weeks. He's like the Cam Newton of a couple of years ago. And, part of it is, everybody thought that when the tight end talking about injuries, when Olsen got hurt, they thought they would miss him. But, they found a tight end who had over 100 yards of receiving last week, and he's really been helpful to him. And so he's got some downfield receivers who are helping him out. And it has helped McCaffrey. And I'm talking about Roberts. He had well over 100 yards last week in receiving. And, it's just, and I think I said this on Monday, but I watched the Philadelphia game, and they came out of the box strong in their game last week. And then Wentz just became very erratic. And he was missing open receivers all over the place. He tends to do that in games. And Philadelphia does have injuries. They have the right tackle. He's out this week, I think, and also they've got some problems in their secondary. And unless they put pressure on Newton, I think they're going to be in trouble this week. And I also think that frankly, Carolina has a little bit of a coaching edge here. And I think Carolina will be able to find a way to get pressure on Wentz. Peppers right now has 5.5 sacks. He's just, I wish I felt as good in my old age as Peppers does in his. And I really like Carolina a lot in this game, and I don't think the game's going to be all that close.
Well, there are a lot of good. You make a lot of good points there, Hank. We've got another big game right below it on the schedule. Well, it's actually a little bit further down. But the Green Bay at Minnesota is a big division game, and of course Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in football, in my opinion. And Minnesota has real problems at the quarterback position. They can't seem to find someone solid in that area.
Well, they do have somebody solid, but he's hurt. And they rushed him back into the game last week, and he looked hurt. And they made a big mistake with that. They should have rested him because they have a capable backup. But I don't think that the quarterback is the problem. I think running back is the problem. They had a guy who was all-world, the running back, who's out for the year right now, and that's where they have the difficulty. Also, their offensive line doesn't block all that well, and that's another problem area for them. But I think Aaron Jones, that's the two words I have for you in this game. What Green Bay was looking for, they finally found. A guy who is a real good runner who can really help that, give some balance to the Green Bay offense. And I think Minnesota, with all they do on defense, and they're changing defense, they're not going up against a rookie who's going to be confused this week. And I think Green Bay is one of the two games that I really like this week. I think they're just better right now. And Rodgers is playing very, very well. And you see what happens with him. You saw what happened with him last week when he had the running game to fall back on. They just kept handing the ball to Jones, and it really set up the defenses all of a sudden had to start watching the box, and it really set Rodgers up for some downfield passes, which he's great at. Nobody throws the ball better than Rodgers right now.
Oh,
there's no better quarterback in the game that's doing that. And I think Minnesota's in deep trouble right now. Remember last year they started off well, and then they, the injuries caught up with them, and I think that's going to be a difficulty for them this week.
I agree with everything you said there, Hank. We have there's some injuries, and we'll get that in the last part of this segment. But there's a quarterback issue. We have some older quarterbacks in the league, and one of them in particular looks really done. And I'm going to go to talk about Pittsburgh and Kansas City. Kansas City, a lot of people are saying they're the best team in football at the moment, and basically on the way they're playing, they are. But Pittsburgh and Big Ben, does this guy, I know he talked about retiring in the offseason. He did come back. Of course, he gets a big paycheck for coming back. But he just, either he doesn't want to play, or he's not ready to play, or he's just done. I mean, I don't know what it is. Obviously, he's had a lot of talent over the years. It's a great team, and Pittsburgh's got a lot of weapons. Is he done, Hank, or what's your opinion on Big Ben?
Fat face?
You said that, I didn't.
This may shock you, but I think that Pittsburgh, if you looked at the 5 interceptions that he threw last week, only one of them was his fault. 2 of them were tipped passes that the receivers should have caught. And I'll tell you, those receivers have to wake up. And 2 of them were on blown patterns. That team is disorganized right now. You have to look at the coaching and see, what's wrong. Because that team is in disarray. Now, they go into Kansas City, and Kansas City right now has some real problems as far as injuries go. You've got, a couple of serious guys on defense who are out. They missed Berry at safety. And, they gave up a lot of scoring in Houston last week. But I'm going to tell you something. Look out for Pittsburgh on Sunday. And look out for Fat Face on Sunday. Because I think that here's the deal on Kansas City. They've been playing a murderous schedule, and they've been winning games. And I think it's going to catch up with them. And this is a very tough spot for them, with Pittsburgh coming in there and everybody writing them off, and everybody writing Roethlisberger off. And the guy is a competitor, and I think he's going to go in there, and don't be surprised if they don't have a big game this week between, the running back and him.
Well, they have the weapons, and if Big Ben comes to play and he's prepared to play and not make some of the errors that he's been making, they're a match for anybody. In the beginning.
Well, remember, Kansas City is as good as they are. They're not a great investment at home, given points. And I know they've got like an 11-2 record or something like that in the last 13 games that they played. but they're playing a team that has some quality performers in there, and if they ever get it together, they're capable of scoring an upset in this situation.
And you're right. They're always capable there because they got all the talent in the world, and they have been there before, and they got Super Bowl rings, et cetera, et cetera. So they have the pedigree. Let's move on. Let's move
slam
on.
dunk this game.
Pardon me?
This is no slam dunk this game for Kansas City.
Oh no, absolutely not. I personally like the total in the game, but I think we're going to see some points. Both of them are downfield passing teams, and if Pittsburgh gets back to that, they have the capable wide receivers to do it. And of course, Big Ben, if he has the time, has the arm to do it too. So I see a lot of points.
They have a pretty good running back too. Both teams do. That's going to be interesting.
And the running the ball might slow the clock down a little bit, but it opens up the passing game, and because it's hard to cover both. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about these injuries. We have some massive injuries in this league right now. The New York Giants lost 4 wide receivers last week, and Houston lost 2 tremendous defensive players also. And then, of course, we have a little bit of an issue with Detroit, with Stafford. I mean, that line opened where New Orleans was 3, and now it's up to 6. So, I mean, what do you have, any late information?
Wait, is Stafford out?
I'm not 100% sure that he is.
No, I'm not either. New Orleans, I was going to play Detroit this week if Stafford is available, because New Orleans is not a dependable team at home. And New Orleans' defense has been playing way over its head so far this year. But I'm just not so certain that Stafford won't play, because he's a very tough guy. And if he can go, he'll go. As far as Houston is concerned, they're going to miss those 2 guys. They were key players for their defense. This is not the week they're going to miss them. And I'll tell you something about O'Brien. He loves to run up scores. And he's got a victim coming in there this week. So, and I remember what he did to Tennessee a couple of weeks ago. That was ugly. I know this is a big point spread for him, but I think that I don't think they'll have a problem covering it, because they'll run up points. But yeah, down the road, they're going to miss those 2 guys on defense. But it won't be this week.
And the New York Giants, what do they do for an offense? They have they're picking guys up off the street.
Yeah, well, they weren't doing very well with the guys they had, and they're just, McDonough is the coach. That's what they're calling him in New York. Right now, the wrong New York team is playing for the first-round draft pick. The big question in New York now is, will they draft a quarterback with that pick? Yeah, I mean, they're going into Denver, and they're getting 12 points. I mean, they have no offense, and their defense isn't very good. The best news they have is that John Jerry is also hurt. And maybe that's an upgrade if he can't play, because he is horrible. He's been killing, and Eli is getting crushed. I mean, he's getting knocked around, something terrible. The other quarterback who's not practicing this week is Brady. But that, New England is covered if Brady can't play. But they're playing the Jets. And the Jets, if as Casey used to say in baseball, you can look it up. The Jets always play well against New England. And if Brady is not 100%, that's an interesting game.
Well, there's a lot of teams at the bottom of the league this year. There's teams that just do not look on the field or on paper as they're competitive. The Jets a lot of people expected them not to win a game. Now they've won 3 in a row. So they've already reached their number, over and under. Some people had the over and under number at 3, so they've got that. If they win one more, they're going to cash. But they're not going to win this game.
My Carolina over is looking pretty good right now.
I'd say so, yes. Well, Hank has sports and horses each and every day. The weekends mostly for the horses. And all of those picks are available at jimfeist.com. And Hank, we'll do this again on Friday. And thank you, everyone, for listening.
So who's pitching today?